early game.
We'll have to see where SK are going to go with this one. Just 12 seconds of bonus time remaining, and with the Black Feather, there's a lot of directions you could go. But Catherine already taken off the table, so that alongside of Batiste wouldn't be available. Lance locked in, though, for Hegman. This is one of his premium picks, something we've seen him play a lot on in the past. I'm curious to see whether this Black Feather ends up in the jungle or in the lane.
Yeah, and like I said, it was very much expected to be that Lance pick for SK, and now they're going to grab the pedal again, so they kind of keep it flexible. They say, okay, you know what, G2, you want to wait and see what our full comp is so that you can decide what you want to run. We're going to keep you guessing, because now they can still flex both of these carries into either position based on what G2 does, and this is one of the things that SK has been able to do in the draft in the past, is get these two flexible picks so that they can then see what their opponent is going to run and make their decision of who's going to go where based on that full information.
And that is only possible if you have two carries that have very wide hero pool. If Black Feather was not a good carry for both Kavalova and Tyrus, and Petal was not the same, then they couldn't have been able to pull off a strategy like this. So SK playing around their strengths the same way G2 are. Let's see where their last pick is going to be. Baron is a possibility, but if you're picking up a Baron against a Black Feather weapon power, that could be dangerous. And since SK still have the flexibility, I feel like they have an advantage in this draft right now.
Yeah, the Baron wouldn't be a terrible pick. Yes, you would have to worry about the Black Feather, but you'd be able to have that same situation as Game 1, where once you get to the late game, you can clear out those Munions exceptionally quickly, especially with the AoE from Baron and from Rhyme. Both of them could do it, but Jewel is going to be the selection, so it's once again one of these situations where the Munions, it could be at risk if this is a Crystal Petal. I would very much rather see SK run a weapon pedal in the lane against this comp from G2.
So we are going to have a brawling composition coming out from G2. All melee aside from the Lyra, but Lyra certainly enables those melee compositions. But on the other side, kind of the opposite situation.
Yeah, I'm going to expect SK to actually run Black Feather in lane just so that they have a decent matchup in the jungle. Regardless of who they're going to put in lane, they're still going to have a weak laner versus the Jewel, because she's really strong and she can pressure very effectively. So it's if they put the Petal in lane, then they also have a losing matchup in the jungle, while if they put Petal in the jungle, that's kind of more even and they will have a place where they can fight. So it's still going to depend on their preference, but G2 definitely going for a very aggressive early game composition similar to last game, and they're just trying to go all out in the mid game especially.
Yeah, the reason I would rather see the Petal be up in the lane is because, yes, you're giving yourself a weaker matchup in both roles, but you have to be thinking about the mid to late game. In Game 1, G2 had a weaker matchup, or as it played out, it was a weaker matchup, but then they were able to win because of the late game power, and I think SK need to be focusing on that late game power here. Otherwise, we could end up with just a very similar situation where the Petal just becomes ineffective later on because those Munions are getting taken out.
All right, well, due to some shot calling errors from SK later on in Game 1, we saw G2 go 1-0 up in this series. This could be the last game of the semifinals. We could see G2 overtaking SK in points as they move to the finals. But SK don't want to go down without a fight. Hashtag Vainglory 8. Let us know whether you think it's going to go to 3 games. It's time to pass it back to Jaws and Sean Ostino for game number 2.
All right, let's get it on. Jumping onto the fold, SK over on the blue, G2 over on the red. Now, what situation have they landed themselves in, Sean? G2 need one more win here to secure themselves the spot in the finals. And then a couple of point variations could still land SK going the Worlds, but it makes their job considerably harder if that's the case.
It is a very difficult situation that SK is in now. They've got to do, if they want to make it, they've got to do a reverse sweep now. They have to go 2-0 on here just to guarantee themselves, yes, we're going to punch our ticket to Singapore. Now, SK, they've got a lot of team utility coming up. Of course, we know Hegman, great on this Lance. Once he gets an Echo, he's going to be able to do double impales, double get the end walls, just set up for his carries.
Got stolen away by Captain again. Mark that one on the board. Hegman's going to take the first Elder Treant of the game. Already SK after a good start. Although one thing I wanted to point out from last game as well. SK took the first turret at 8 minutes. Nice double root onto Keanu and Hundor there. So with their composition, will they be able to do the same thing? Because against a duel that can clear Wayne so well, it's going to be a lot harder. You could say.
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult because Jewel does have that heroic perk, and that's something that G2 can utilize very well. Her heavy plating that she has, her front and sides are very well armored. She has bonus armor there. Now, if she can just keep herself front-facing the enemy, then she could end up standing and fighting very, very effectively. She just has to get to late game. Once she's able to get level 8 power spike, she'll be able to critical strike with her thunder strikes, and that's going to be very effective, a great tool for them. I feel like they could chain their CC too, as long as Dark Potato actually gets in there. It looks like he's getting rooted up right now, though.
And a double root as well. Oh, the Elder Treant he knocks out of it. That's going to be a Githian wall, and it's going to actually get stolen by Tyrus there. So G2, after not the flyingest of starts, not the quickest of starts either, and SK now pushing them into their own lane. Looks like Tyrus is actually going to go for a sneaky invade here as well. It's level 4 as also, and it does actually require Dark Potato to get that recall off and actually wander back to his own jungle as he took a lot of damage in that initial trade.
But SK is doing a little bit of counter jungling now, stealing the backs, Tyrus is, over on the side of G2. Really well done by him. They're taking every small advantage they can get right now. And we're up about 600 gold for SK right now, 2 minutes 40 seconds into the game. It's pretty good for them. If they can just keep this up, they're going to be doing really well for themselves. But yeah, there's a lot of CC, like I was saying earlier, from G2. If we have the chains of roots.
Nice impale. Hang on a second.
Oh.
Nice impale. Oh, Hundor made it out. I always forget the Rocket League was taken, so I got a bit over anxious there. I was like, SK, maybe they find first blood here, but Sundor did Rocket Leap away, and Keanu was with the Sigil as well. But Hegman just keeps landing impale after impale, mind you. His impale percentage is pretty damn high right now. Kavalavar's going to go for the recall here. 2,200 gold in his inventory. We'll be able to pick up some boots, 6 sins, and some extra weapon power damage.
Yeah, I'm excited to see Kavalavar doing his work on the weapon power pedal. But yeah, earlier you just mentioned the Rocket Leap. Well, the Rocket Leap chain that CC with the Winter Spires, getting the chill winds off. That's just going to be a lot of CC and the bulwarks too that are going to be coming out of G2. And what CC do we have for Hegman? We've only got Impales and Githian Walls, and those are both coming out of one hero. So it's going to be a tall task for SK to be able to just use their CC that they have in their kits, whereas G2 has got a lot more CC on their side. So they could potentially lock down one of the members of SK very effectively.
Speaking about locking down, they want to try and find Kavalavar up in this lane, paying him a visit. Hegman's going to pay him a visit also, going to provide the support and guidance that he needs during this laning phase. Now we see Hundor actually probably going to move towards, you can imagine, a Sora Blade, maybe even to some crit as well, so those Thunder Strikes will start racking up in damage. And that's something I guess SK are going to have to be rather mindful of. Is Kavalavar going to prioritize some really early armor? Is Tyrus going to do the same thing? Or are they just going to go full kind of glass cannon and hope they can burst through Hundor quicker than Keanu can heal him up?
Well, we do see some light armor picked up by Hundor, and that is going to make a little bit of a difference here early game. But she doesn't necessarily need, this Jewel doesn't necessarily need that much armor because of her heroic perk. She's going to have that heavy plating that she can use to her advantage and pretty much go glass cannon with her build. Just go ahead and build a lot of critical strike, a lot of the Sorrow Blade's already been picked up, and that's going to be making a difference with these Thunder Strikes here.
Imagine if Lance had a heroic perk like Catherine's. Every time you like root someone up, you gain some additional armor and shielding. That would be super broken on Hegman because the amount of CC he does have and the amount of CC he does end up landing. Nice, get him all back into the turret. Tyrus is going to be here as well. Hegman going very low. Valkyrie comes out also. Doesn't quite hit anybody just yet, and G2 looking to disengage. Don't want to give any early kills up for the time being. Tyrus still with that level lead as well on Dark Potato. Really done a good job of taking away most of his jungle whenever he's had the opportunity to.
5 minutes into the game here, Jaws, and we do see the ultimates coming out for each of the carries on both sides here. Tyrus is going in a little bit. Playbacks off. So, Anyway, Rose offensive, very effective for him to be able to get in and out of there on Tyrus. Kvalifar, he's got that spontaneous combustion, so he can actually heal up a little bit, be able to sustain himself here in the lane. But also that trampoline, he hasn't hit the level 8 power spike on this pedal yet, but once he gets this trampoline at max rank, then he's going to be able to get that extended range, that 20% damage bonus as well when he trampolines, kiting around these fights. That's the best, most effective way that he could possibly do that.
Well, big item spikes coming through for Kvalifar and Tyrus. As Sorrow Blade on Kvalifar now. Tyrus has got his Aftershock. So we discussed yesterday, actually, when we saw an Aftershock build on a Black Feather. Something that we see more the Asian regions doing. I think most of NA and EU do build that Shatterglass first, just for the upfront burst damage, but a more duelist kind of build here from Tyrus. Really wants to get on Hundor and make his damage stick. Although, right now, Hundor making it stick on Kvalifar. Those Thunder Strikes are hurting him a fair bit, although Tyrus now picking up an early infusion. Impale does land onto Keanu Nakoa. Look at that damage as well from the Aftershock, forced off the Flask. Defensive backwards for Tyrus. G2 still have got the sustain advantage using that sigil, and it's something Hegman's going to have to keep in mind. Impale does go a little bit wide, only rooting out the minions, and now it's G2's time to play, it seems.
Yeah, they're going to have to watch out for that. Tyrus, he did get his on point off. He dove in on Keanu Nakoa. That's not who you want to focus necessarily. Sure, the Lyra was going really low, but they weren't able to catch her. I feel like he probably needs to prioritize boots next. And it looks like G2's sieging up this turret.
Yeah, Kvalifar very low on energy also. Nice Impale actually onto 3 members. That Sigil will get him out of there. And that's the biggest thing about Lyra as well. If you get a triple Impale, yeah, Sigil's going right underneath me and my teammates, and then we can speed up before anything else can happen. That's exactly what they did do. Now G2 pushing in because they've now known that Kvalifar is going to go back here and get that tornado trigger. Nice root does land to Hundor, uses that rocket leap to safety as well. G2 are having, SK are having a lot of troubles here actually making the damage stick. Hundor's got so mobility and so many ways to get out of the fight. Not only does he have heal from Keanu, he also has that rocket leap, and he can throw a couple of thunder strikes back as well if they do decide to go extremely aggressive. G2 playing their own game right now and at their own pace. Something we know them to do, and something that they proved in game number 1 they can do quite proficiently as well, playing around those power spikes. We thought it was all over when SK took that early turret. It was like, oh, it's pretty much done, right? SK, they can snowball the game, but Hundor just waited silently and patiently for the time where he can just open up on the Saw. We'll see if he can do it on the duel again.
Yeah, it looks like he's actually hit that level 8 power spike now, Hundor has, and his Thunder Strikes are going to be something to deal with right here. But Kvalifar also has hit his level 8 power spike as well, so that's something to look out for too. And we're sitting at 9 minutes into the game right now, 0 kills for both sides, and Hundor's getting rooted.
Hundor's a little bit caught out, does get impelled, just rocket leap straight into the middle of the team and just deletes Kvalifar. First blood to G2, but Tyra's not happy with that. Tries to go back in, but he isn't a 1v3. Hegman gets the nice 2-man Impale, and they do end up killing him also. Tyrus goes down. Hundor finds 2 kills in the early game, and G2 are now off to a flying start.
Wow, look at that. Just one team fight in 30 seconds, 2 kills going over to the side of G2. Really well done. And you can see there the amount of work that Hundor is able to do now on this Jewel. Look at the damage onto this turret. It's so hurt now. Oh, man. And Hundor is just able to frontline so much damage coming out of Hegman. Sure, he's a captain, but yeah, they're able to just duel a little bit. And Hundor just brushes off like, my heavy plating's fine. Let's go, Meki, go and get out of here.
Well, SK want to get at least a little comeuppance for themselves, and that'll be Kvalifar jumping on that turret. Should just be able to take it here, actually decides to back off. He's scared of Hundor's damage, and I would be too, as he's got a monocle on board now. And now Keanu working his way towards... He's got an energy battery, actually. What could that possibly be? A bit of energy regeneration? Could be an Echo. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. Double Bright Bulwark will hinder their ability to engage.
Yeah, double Bright Bulwarks would be great, or even double Imperial Sigils too, to just increase the sustain and healing on their side. And their speed and movement boosts too that they get from popping those Imperial Sigils would be really, really good. We know that Dark Potato on this rhyme, he wants to be able to get in there too. He wants to be able to brawl and fight, and there we go.
Speaking about getting in there, they jump straight onto Kvalifar again. He instantly just melts. Tyrus and Hegman just didn't have time to react. The pedal ends up falling, and G2 find themselves yet another kill.
Oh my goodness, the Rocket Leap was a thing of beauty, and they're not done yet.
Oh, no, they're not. Well, Hegman says yes, they are, as he does get a two-man Githy and walk straight into the dead turret, but they lose that first-tier turret as well. G2 wanting to make it to the finals in style here, Sean.
Yeah, you know what would be great too would be a double arcane passages coming out of Keanu Nakoa. If he's able to get an Echo and do that just over and over again, the cooldown is so much lower on the Bright Bulwark and Imperial Sigil compared to the the arcane passage. If they're able to just do that, team fights back to back, that would be a thing of beauty. Just to get in there, throw down the Bulwark, shut down the movement-based abilities that are coming out of SK, and they could just, even throwing down an Atlas Pauldron, we do see an Atlas Pauldron on Kiana Nakoa, just to reduce the damage per second that's coming out of Cavalifar.
Thundor is the main carry for G2. It's always looked that way, whether it's Celeste or now his Jewel. He is 3-0. The biggest win condition right now is just making sure he survived the fights. And to be honest with you, he doesn't really mind too much because he just jumps in there anyway. Rocket Leap straight on top of Cavalifar. Big red button was used to try and disrupt Cavalifar's back, but doesn't end up finding him. Does get it off in the end. And now SK playing very defensively now, because right now G2 have got all the money in the bank and even a lot of those front camps as well. Looking for maybe an engage here. Keanu setting up for a passageway into a Bright Bulwark will be something they would desire, but ending up just taking away those front camps, just starving SK of gold now.
Yeah, they're starving them. It's about 4,000, 3,500 gold in the lead now for G2. 3 kills in their pocket, and we're coming up on a couple of minutes left until the Kraken spawns out of the Halcyon well there. But G2 just having their way with the front half of the camps, stealing away that golden experience that we know Cavalifar and Tyra's need to just keep getting their items online that they need to be able to duel here late game. G2 is playing the smart game here, and with Hundor just being able to kill so effectively right now, 3-0-0 right now. He's got Tyrant's Monocle, Sorrow Blade, Tornado Trigger. I would expect him to maybe even sell off that Healing Flask and get himself another weapon power item here.
I mean, why not? You're doing a lot of damage. Why not even more? I mean, realistically, he's not going down in these fights. Big red button used actually just to clear the wave there. G2's wave management has been really good as well. We've got to say, SK, they've been really hard pressed to actually farm these waves up and actually just push them back in. The waves do provide a lot of vision, although they are jumping straight in on to Hundor, and he's trying to, with that heavy plating, just doing so much work. Rocket Leap into the back line, and now Tyra's taking the majority of the damage. Valkyrie did land onto Cavalifar, but he's already going to go down to a Winter Spire, and now it's Tyra's versus the world, but he is going to go down to the darkest of potatoes. Goldmine is going to get started up by G2, and they are booking their ticket to the finals today here, Sean, if they can keep going like this.
If they can keep going, indeed, Jaws. And check what happened in that fight earlier. So we actually saw that Hundor was being focused very effectively by Cavalifar and Tyras that time. His health bar went pretty low, but you know what he did? Use that Rocket Leap to get him out of that situation. Using his Rocket Leap to reposition like that took a lot of the aggro off of him and allowed Dark Potato to do some work. He got himself a couple of kills there too. So we see once Hundor leaves the fight, he's not aggroed anymore. He's not being focused by the other team members. Comes back in, and we're able to see him get some additional damage as well, allowing Dark Potato to finish them off. Really well done by them.
I mean, they say they want to win not once a couple of weeks ago. They say they want to win twice. We want to take it to the finals. And with that, obviously, we've got to keep in mind that there are a couple of situations that SK still make it to Worlds. It's getting a slimmer and slimmer opportunities now. Kraken has spawned. G2, remember, they did take it pretty much off spawn at last game. But that was with a saw. They do have a lot of damage in Hundor. Cavalifar stepping up, but Keanu is going to put that sigil down just to keep everybody sustained. Now let's talk about Cavalifar's build in a second, because Hegman's actually going to get a triple impale. They're going to jump straight on Cavalifar, and he already dies. Valkyrie's going to come down as well, but it doesn't quite hit anybody. Tyra is still running away. A Rocket Leap on top of his face, and Hundor is going to crit him not once, not twice, but 3 times to take him out. Dark Potato is going to secure the kill, and Hegman on the run, and that will just be the captain last member alive while the Crystal Sentry goes down, and G2 setting their sights possibly on the Kraken here.
Oh yeah, they're going to turn their sights on the Kraken pretty soon. We already see that Hundor is going to be starting it up. He is kind of low though, so it would be great for the rest of his team to come back and provide some tank against the damage that this Kraken is going to be outputting here. But Hegman's trying to be a distraction, just getting in there, looking for a possible Kraken steal. They should turn their attention to him.
Yeah, I mean, he could see SK back in the game if he gets the steal, and Impale does land, but look at the damage coming out from Hundor. That armor plating doing so much, another rocket leap in, that Kraken still not taking it, finally goes down to Dark Potato. Hundor's still not dead, actually take that back as Tyros finds the kill. A passageway out for Keanu to try and get himself out alive, but Tyros is going to have to run and gun him down. Now it's Dark Potato versus Tyros as he just lets that Kraken walk down the lane. The damage coming out from Tyros though, the execution and the crystal damage coming through for the on point was too much for Dark Potato. He's going to turn around and flee, but not before that Kraken is going to open up that base.
Dark Potato did what he needed to do there, just to provide a distraction to allow the Kraken to get to this choke point turret. Really well done by him, and we know that Blackfeather and Lance are not the best at objective taking. So thankfully Kavalifar's here. He's going to be having a lot of damage onto this Kraken now. But Dark Potato had to back in that fight at the end of that fight because he was out of energy too. He really couldn't do that much.
SK, they're not out of this game just yet. They managed to actually save the choke point turret there with an inch of HP left, but Hundor's going to be able to not look twice at that, and it's going to go down. That's something that they've got to keep in their heads and keep in the front of their minds. Infusions picked up across the board here for G2 as well, and looking to end the game. And might I say as well, Hundor's actually gone for this 3-item build, this 3 damaging item build of the Tornado Trigger, Sora Blade, and Monocle, picking up some added defenses so he can survive longer in these fights. Very unlike Kavalifar, who's just been getting deleted, who is still prioritizing more damage, looking to go into a Monocle for his fourth damaging item.
Yeah, Kavalifar has not been doing that much. Sure, he's got a little bit of damage output, but he needs to be able to survive longer in these team fights. He's 0-5-1 right now. With all of those damage items that he has, it's probably not the best investment right now. That Crystal Sentry is going over to G2. 1 life remaining on that SK Sentry. And SK wants blood. They're mad. They're going in, Jaws.
There's blood in the water and SK can smell it. G2 have wounded them enough now to the point where they are mad. They're going to turn green and hopefully go into an Hulk-like rage, because right now they're going to need someone like the Hulk to actually come back. Hundor is way too big. He is 6-1 on this duel. Almost a complete build as well. Looking to go for those tier 3 boots as his last item. This is in a bad situation for SK. They just seem to need to let Kavalifar, or make sure he keeps himself alive in order to actually output the damage, because like you just rightfully said, Sean, he just gets deleted in the fights. Like he's getting a little bit of damage out, but more often than not, Hundor just goes Thunderstrike and another Thunderstrike and you're done.
Not to mention the rocket leaps too. When he's able to get those things down, he's actually been landing them very effectively, stunning up either Tyras or Kavalifar. And if you stun up one of these heroes, they're not able to output the damage that they need to as a carry to stay relevant in the fights.
19 minutes on the clock. That Kraken is going to spawn yet again as we see a 6,000 gold lead open up for G2. But we are at that point in the game where gold is starting to mean less and less. And it comes down to your prowess as a team and prowess and your team fights as well. G2 still want to defend this tier 1 turret. Hundor is moving up, but it's going to get destroyed before he can actually make way his towards the lane and destroy the minions. So Kavalifar will secure their first turret of the game. But G2 looking to make a small engage possibly, but will get flared out.
Yeah, it looks like G2 may be moving towards the base and probably go for a sneaky little ambush here. If they're able to get this off, this could be SK's hopes and dreams of Singapore dashed.
It could be. SK moving forward. Hundor's going to be the target. And Impale does land. He turns round. Thunderstrike and a massive rocket leap out in the back line. But Hundor going solo, but so is Kavalifar. Kavalifar cutting back with that trampoline. Manages to take him out. G2's win con is all but dead. And now it is only Dark Potato and Keanu to back off. But Keanu manages to solo out Kavalifar in the back line. That 4 to 5 HP is working wonders for Dark Potato at the moment. And Tyros has to pop the boost to get away. But Keanu's going to match that with a passageway. And he ends up killing him as well. Supportal combat as he ends up finding 2 kills in the fight. Dark Potato, are you even needed? Apparently not. Hundor's going to pick up those war treads in the meantime. It's only Hegman to fend off G2. I'm not sure Kraken's on the board at the moment, but they still win out the fight so handily.
Kraken is on the board at the moment. I don't know if they'll be able to take it, though, with Hegman hanging out there. And Dark Potato and Keanu Nako were pretty low from that fight on both energy and health. But I love seeing the Principal Arcanum on Lyra just doing so much work, finishing off Tyras in that last fight. It's a beautiful thing when you see a Lyra just throw out, as captain too, throw out one of those auto attacks and just hold it down a little bit longer, let the last auto attack, the second one, come in, boom, finished him off. He was at such low levels now, low health. G2 starting up this Kraken. It's going over to them unless we can get another steal.
Hegman, oh no, the bright bulwark. Yep, it was going to block him actually engaging in on that, and that Kraken is going to be on the board for G2. But this time around, Sean, they are all alive for this push. Last time it was only Dark Potato who had to get the recall off, and it was Tyras, Kavalafar and Hegman that had to deal with it, and they were able to take it down before it did any major damage. But now it is a 4-on-3 with that Kraken on the side of G2.
Oh yeah, Kraken is on their side, and they actually protected it really well too while they were capturing it. We saw that Echo used very effectively. Keanu Nakoa threw down the bulwark twice with that Echo, and it was really well done. And they're approaching this choke point turret. It's pretty low already. Kraken is going to be working for G2 now. Woo! Oh,
there's the passageway. Bright Bulwark War Treads popped as well. Gicky and Wall knocks back 3 members of G2, and the Atlas Pauldron is popped. Nice impale straight on to Keanu, and that will be Dark Potato going extremely low, but Hundor jumps straight on Kavalafar and deletes him again. Tyrus is going to fall as well. G2 find 2 kills in this fight, and Hundor is an 8-2. That Kraken is at half HP, and that'll be G2 taking the base turrets and taking the crystal. They're going towards the finals, and that'll be SK's hopes just slimmed down to a narrow possibility of them making worlds, and G2's possibilities have only just exploded.
Oh my goodness, Jaws. This victory for G2 means so much. Now the gap has been closed between G2 and SK to a mere 1 point. And now, SK can no longer get any more points for the rest of the weekend. G2, going to the finals, now has the possibility to get more points, to increase their lead, or something else could happen. This is a crazy, crazy story for both these teams, and I'm excited for what happens at the end of the day.
G2 need to win exactly 1 match in the finals. And they are done. And that'll be them punching their